Good evening, all. Happy Friday. Welcome to the latest edition of Endless Celts Podcast. The weekend is here, and you're about to start it right with all Celtic chat with us here at Endless Celts. I've just about recovered for last week, so glad to be joined by Ross. How you doing, mate? How's your week been?
Aye, all right. Slow start. Obviously recovering from Saturday's escapades, but been out a couple of runs and back to normal. And I was going to say raring to go, but I'm having one glass of wine. I'm working tomorrow, so.
Ideal, Stephen. How are you, mate? How's your week been?
A bit like yourself, Willie. I think I woke up on the Sunday with a fear, as you call it, and I was on the boat home and I was rinsed. Like I was absolutely rinsed. There was kids running about making noise, and I'm sitting there just with my head in my hands, just like this. And then I've been recovering all week, but again, like Ross said to me when we were off there in the studio bit, that I've been buzzing, looking forward to the Sunday again, just to see the Celtic play, and I had a great time with you lads, and it was just absolutely fantastic. And we've done our first ever 2 podcasts together, like in the same room and in the same facility as each other, and I just thought it worked really, really well. I won't go into the details of why I'm laughing, but I'm pretty sure people know why I'm laughing. I loved it, every minute of it, and I have to say to you, Willie and Grace's pub, best landlord, best host, unbelievable.
I know. I think we should probably actually, before we move on, we touch on Saturday, because I did. And I think we've had loads of positive feedback, and Ross, we've all watched it back, and I thought it worked really well. So hopefully we get a bit more of that done in the future, because I thought it worked brilliant with us all together.
Aye, I really enjoyed it. I have to say before, well, you've all seen it. I was very nervous before we went on, because I was that way when one of you are making a point and stuff like that. I'm just going to want to laugh, but it was all right. It worked quite well, and I've watched it back and it seemed to come across quite well, and most of the people who were in live seemed to enjoy it. As far as sort of read into the comments, I don't know if there's been anything in the comments said, obviously with people watching it after that's been live, if you like. But I enjoyed it, and listen, it was a day out with the boys, and we got to do one of the things we love the most, talk about Celtic, and we got to do it in the same room and share it with other like-minded people.
Absolutely, it was brilliant to have us sort of. We don't get together enough, actually, all of us together. And we appreciate you, Stephen, coming over. Obviously, it's a bit more of a trek for you, but I'm glad you got over, and I thoroughly enjoyed it myself. So hopefully there's more of that to come. Lots in the pipeline for this coming season. And like Stephen said, can't wait. Already can't wait for Sunday. So glad that Celtic are back, and we've got a good performance to boot, and an even better result in the afternoon kickoff. So all in all,
see if you think about it, Willie. It was like a travel of a good day. Like Celtic won, we done a podcast together, and Rangers got beat. Good things coming for ease, isn't it?
If you'd seen the scenes in Gracie's bar when the final whistle went, then that was every bit as good as Celtic winning.
More cheers there than there was for that to Celtic. I know you brought some of the comments up, Stephen, but Alistair says that centre half deal's done, apparently. Lager in the back of the tops. If I'd pointed that down my gullet, I think the missus would think I'm taking a piss if I got that in the back of my top as well. But we'll go on to signings and stuff like that later on. Before I go on, obviously we've got our show sponsor, Sharna, as well. As usual, down the ticker along the bottom, you can get your 10% off your purchase with the code in the description. But also, our Super 6 is back this season. It was. I know with Stephen Coulthard, we're going to get this. Going to get this prize to you, I promise you, and it's going to be sooner rather than later. It's just taking us a wee bit longer to get hold of this stuff, but yeah, again, we're going to do it again this season. So if anybody's want to take part, if you took part last year, and I think if you log on, Ross, you automatically go back into the league again.
No, well, I've restarted the league, so whoever was in it last year is automatically put into it again. If you weren't in it last year and you wanted to join it, you just go on to the Super 6 app or download it if you haven't got it. And then there's the wee PIN code coming along the bottom here. That PIN code there is the one to join the league. So you'll obviously, the league is called the Endless Celts Championship, I think. So, and you just put that PIN code in, and that's you basically joined. It's as simple as that.
Yep, and get in.
If I can do it, MD can.
He's coming. It's coming along the bottom there, the Endless Celts Championship, and the pins KJKSC8. So if you want to join in on that, jump in. I don't even know.
And it's all free.
I would say what Stephen got as a prize and what's coming.
Right, you can go for it, Willie. You fire in.
Going to get Sharna, our partner's going to do us some Endless Celts t-shirts, a wee bit of merch. So that was the prize, and a few bits and bobs for Stephen. So yeah, we're going to do it again this season. If you fancy chipping in, there's a prize at the end of the season. I hope you're better than me, because I did well for the first few months, and I just keep forgetting. Franny must have like 15 alarms set every on it for 6, because he's always in with his scores. But it's all doing a lot on the ticker at the bottom. So if you want to join in. If you want to get some Jarna gear, like I said, they're going to kit us out with some of our own merch, which I'm really looking forward to getting hold of. There's a 10% discount there as well. But let's move on to the pressing matters at Celtic at this moment in time. And the first one, it's a bit of bad news we're going to start on, Stephen, is O's out injured. So we're looking like we're lacking a bit up front. What do you make of the news?
Well, I think Rodgers said he hurt his calf in one of the games, but he didn't tell anybody, and then it eventually caught up with him, which I don't think for me is a good move on O's part. But again, you can understand him wanting to play, make an imprint on Rodgers to keep him in his plans for the season ahead. But 6 to 8 weeks he's going to be out for. Yeah, we're laid up top. So I mean, we've got Kyogo, obviously Mieta can fill in there, and Abada. But it comes again with the whole question: should we sign that third striker? And obviously, Mikel Antonio's been linked to us recently for a loan move from West Ham. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of that. It's just gone down the same water as we always do, trying to get someone who's probably coming towards the end of his best years playing football, in my opinion. I know he did well for West Ham in the run last season of things, but for him coming up with a big wage unload, it would be a starter for me. I think we need to look at possibly getting, and I think Rodgers has said this himself, I think he's going to change the system, so there's going to be times where we're playing 2 up top. If you would get a taller type striker in to kind of complement a Kyogo, complement the Mieta, whoever's playing up there, that would be something to be all in for. Maybe a target man, somebody could lay it on. Is all them things, but we're getting into these games, these pressing games, these fixtures ahead with technically one out-and-out striker, and for me that needs to be addressed.
Ross, you were pulling some faces there. What do you think of Stephen's comments?
Well, listen, Stephen's entitled to his opinion on Antonio, and I totally get where he's coming from. I think it would be a good signing, but the thing I screwed my face up at was we're just going back to what we always do. When was the last time we signed a 32-year-old player?
Carton Cole, maybe?
I mean, about 30 years ago.
That's what I mean.
What I'm saying is, there's no invention there. It's like reinventing the wheel. We get a lone player from EPL. We'll have them for a season, then in their way again. If you're looking to build a squad for Europe next season, you're building on for a treble again or a treble challenge again this season. You have to have a player who's dedicated to the cause, who wants to come in, sign that contract on a permanent deal. Loans shouldn't be something that we're looking at as a club. Mate, we're not going to buy Antonio outright. If that happens.
West Ham want to offload him, I think. I don't think it would be a loan. I think Celtic, it maybe only be a year's deal because he is 32. But, I mean, we've got Kyogo, we've got O. Mm-hmm. You're looking at a guy to come in who is, I didn't like to say the third choice striker because they've got to come in and stake a claim. But I think for somebody that's coming in and there's already 2 strikers in front of him, it's a guy Antonio's age maybe that's going to have to come in. But I think he offers you experience. He's just off the back of winning a European trophy. We're wanting to sign guys that have got European experience, or a lot of people are. I think he gives you a different dimension. He gives you a different option in terms of what we've got already, in terms of holding the ball up. I think that holding the ball up is absolutely outstanding at, and I think it was no better shown than his semi-final performance in the Europa League at AZ Alkmaar. I thought West Ham, they played on the counter at times in that game, and he played a big part in them getting that. I think it was a 0-0 draw over there, or 1-1 maybe. but he was outstanding on the night. I think. Listen, for me, he's not got to come in and play before Kyogo for the most part, but as a different option when you're changing things in game, as Rodgers will do. We've all said it. He said it himself. I think he would be a viable option as a third choice striker, but of course, it all depends on wages and fee and stuff like that, and whether we can afford it. But if you're not looking at the fee and you're just looking at it for a perspective of the player's attributes and what he can bring, then for me, Mikel Antonio's would be a good signing.
And I get what you go ahead, Ollie.
I didn't want to get into the transfer chat too early, but
okay.
Here we are.
Stephen done it.
And again, it's another link. We've got fucking more links than Connect 4 this season, honestly. Linked with every player in their granny. But when you said there, Stephen, about the no wanting an older or a loan player or whatever, he's going to be a third choice striker. I don't mind us bringing a loan in if he's not going to be featuring much anyway, and he's going to be behind day two. It's just somebody for if we end up with an injury crisis or whatever. But again, if we're only playing one up front, and I know Maeda's going to be playing left majority of the time, but it looks like Brendan likes him up top. So technically, if you're looking at it that way, we've got 3 strikers on the books at the moment, and for what I've seen in pre-season, it looks like he actually maybe prefers Maeda up top than actually coming in. He was starting Maeda left, taking Kyogo off, putting Maeda up top for however many minutes, and then bringing on. So it's an interesting one. I'm not too... Again, I don't know what to talk because we're going to go into the transfer sort of side of things later on, but it's not something that I'm overly getting overly anxious about us. If we don't sign another striker, I'm not going to be too disappointed. But what have you got to say, Stephen?
I mean, I'll leave the transfer talk for later. I know I kind of brought it up, but as you said to me, doesn't need to be addressed, and that only can come with transfers. But the whole thing with Antonio, the likelihood for me that happening is probably about 20%. It's just a link we've seen with the striker in the last couple of days. It's the only thing we can really go off. But the only concern for me, Maeda, Kyogo, and Abada, essentially, who the latter of the two can fill in them different positions. And Corville, you're 100% right. I think Dermot Desmond would have a heart attack if he's seen the wage packet he'd have to pay him. But the only concern is that as Ross said there, the height, the target. There's no difference, if you know what I mean. There's no one you can maybe swing a ball up to in the Champions League game and hopefully they hold on to it and bring others into play. Kyogo is doing that, but he's doing that coming off the defence and kind of linking the play. He's not backing in against the defender, keeping them busy. And we've seen do that, but I know 6 weeks isn't a long time, but in football speak, for me, it is a long time, if that makes sense. You're going to be playing key games. You're away to Batodry. You might need something different in the last 10 minutes. You don't know. The Champions League's coming quick and fast. And I would have loved, for me, in my opinion, to be fit and firing, because I think under Rodgers, he can make him into an absolute goal machine and a tank like Antonio, maybe that mold of a player, like in Dembele, that type of player. But yeah, as you said, we'll come on to the transfer chat, but it's definitely something, in my opinion, we probably need to look at.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Corvo said here a wee bit earlier on it was brought up, but I kind of want to just touch on it. Even Corvo, he says that he's afraid we'll overplay Kyogo this season. Is that a concern for you, Ross?
He
played a lot under Ange, didn't he? He played in the game, so.
Aye, it's only a concern if he gets injured due to that. If he plays his way through it, then you're happy that Kyogo's starting most games. I think if you look at it, probably the early games in the League Cup, maybe even the early games in the Scottish Cup, he might not start the games because, well, I mean, certainly the early games of the Scottish Cup will be the early part of next year. You're hoping that we get European football after Christmas, but that will not come about until February. So that gives you an opportunity in sort of the early part of the Scottish Cup, certainly if you get a home game as well, to play or if there is another striker in there, even Maeda. You've got options. So no, I'm not worried that they'll overplay Kyogo. They'll play Kyogo in all the big games as long as he's fit. But like we've alluded to, that we're essentially got 3 strikers on the books now, and I know that is out injured. It's a silly decision on his part, but Maeda can come in and do it. And if Maeda comes into the middle to give Kyogo a rest, we can then play I don't know. It depends if Haksabanovic is going to be there. You could even play James Forrest out there. Yang can play in the left. So there is options, a lot of options for us if we don't play Kyogo. So I understand where Corvo's coming from, but it's not a worry for me when I look at the options that we have to give him a rest in sort of games that you perceive as maybe a bit easier. But again, that all depends on who you draw in the cups.
Yeah, absolutely, Stephen. What do you like? For me, I think Rodgers probably be a bit more. He'll rest him a lot more than Ange did.
Well, I mean, you look at it as well. I think we all knew that Kyogo was Ange's quote-unquote golden boy. And unless something happened drastically with injury or whatever, he wouldn't be dropped from the team. And I think what Rodgers has let us know quite early on, you have to earn your place in the squad by merit. You can't just be living off last season and living off past glories. That doesn't happen under him. But yeah, Kyogo, we all know he's carrying the shoulder knot, right? We all know that's going to be an issue maybe later on in the season. He might need an operation on it. Rodgers and him have been very open about that situation. But I'm not concerned about it. I would be concerned if Ange was still here because he just played him relentlessly. And I have no doubt Kyogo's fitness levels are probably top notch, by the way, so he could probably cope with that workload. But for us being selfish, you want him fit and firing for the best games. And like you said, Ross, if we draw like an Alloa again or I don't know, Sterling Albion in the cups in the next couple of rounds, maybe you could get away with resting him. But yeah, he's going to play the next shed load of games, the next 6 or 8 games anyway from the bat because O's injured and Maeda. I know what you're saying, Willie. Maeda came into the middle and he scored a hat-trick against his old club, and it was fantastic to see. We all thought maybe Rodgers did prefer him there, but first game of the season he was bang out in the left again. But one thing is good, they can interchange. We've said that a lot in this podcast. They can move about. Kyogo comes deep. Maeda can make that run and stuff like that. So you have to look at it. Maybe Rodgers has taken the workload off him in the sense where he can drop deep, hold on to the ball and just relax a wee bit instead of being running all the time, closing people down and doing that kind of headless chicken running where you don't need to do it essentially. Pick your times to do it. Maybe that can rest him up and kind of keep him fresh for games. We all seen it last season. He was coming off around 60, 70 minutes. I don't see that being a major issue because Rodgers high pressing games, not as the kind of blueprint that Anne's done. It was just always on. I think Rodgers' teams are a bit more pragmatic. Do you know what I mean? They're a bit more, they pick their moments to do it and they usually do it very well, if that makes sense. So I'm not concerned for the long term. Short term, yes, because anything can happen.
I was just going to say, just off the back of what Stephen's saying there, I think the way that Rodgers plays, obviously we've seen it on Saturday, Kyogo coming a bit deeper, and then he's got the willing runners, Turnbull, O'Reilly going past him, and he's putting the ball through for them. I don't think he'll be asked to cover as much ground as what he was asked to do under Ange. So that in itself will take a bit of the load off his legs long term.
And when I remember we had the wee bit of an injury period where it was always hammies going, and it's because of that high intensive press constantly that the hammies are pinging. And I think you're right, it's a bit more of a pragmatic pressing where you pick your spots to do it and a bit more sound defensively. So it'll be interesting. I'm not going to go into, I was going to talk about Champions League and the differences in that, but that's for another podcast because that's.
So was I.
Even if Pam says that Kyogo's not Rodgers' favourite as much as Ange was, Rodgers will put different players in that position as the season goes on. I totally agree. So I don't think he'll be used half as much. So I'm not too stressed about burnout. And I mean, the transfer talk is going to take up the majority of this podcast, I think. But we're going to move on next, and we touched on it. We kind of touched on it pre and post pod on Saturday actually about Starfelt, and the rumours were true, and Rodgers was right in what he was saying, and he's gone now. He's gone to Celtic Vigo to be with his love Jacinta, or closer to her at least. Ross, how do you feel about the situation? Are you quite happy? Are you not too fussed because I think we've got a ready-made replacement in already? Do you feel like we need a bit more in that area? How do you feel about the whole situation?
First of all, good luck to Starfelt. I totally get why he's went. She's half the scale.
So do I.
But in terms, look, if Starfelt had left and we didn't have Navarroke in the building, I would be worried. I would be like, where are we got to go here? What we got to do? We can't go with Carter Vickers and any of the other 3-4 that's available. Navrocki comes in. He played on Saturday. I mean, it's only one game. I'm not going to say that he's better than Starfelt by any stretch. I think he comes out with the ball better than Starfelt ever did. Obviously, that is a lot to do with Starfelt not playing on the right side of the defence, or his preferred side, sorry. But I think he brings the ball out in a similar fashion. Maybe no. I mean, we didn't see it quite to the extent, but it reminded me a wee bit of like Aya. He was involved. He was the one that brought the ball out when we won the penalty for the first goal. He was right up there, almost at the edge of the Ross County box, playing a ball in. So he brings the ball out for me better than Starfelt. I'm not going to say he's a better defender than Starfelt right now. You can't do that. Yeah. Obviously, we've got I don't know if it's set in stone yet, but we've got this German beer festival guy coming in, Lagerbielke. So I think, listen,
he's been waiting all night.
He's a Swedish international, 23-year-old. I don't know if he's going to come in and be the first choice or if Navrocki is, but we've got another 2 centre halves in the door. Well, one in the door and one almost in the door, you have to say. So I'm okay about Starfelt leaving. I was always one of the ones. Listen, Starfelt done a great job. You can't argue with the statistics, the record alongside Carter Vickers. But there was always that wee moment for me. And listen, I would have to say he had a better season last season than he did his first season. And I can't say that Starfelt wasn't a good player, but I also can't say that he was an outstanding defender. As much as his numbers and stuff are as good as Carter Vickers, I watch football with my eyes, and Carter Vickers, I think everybody will agree, is a far better player than Starfelt. Put it this way, if we lost Carter Vickers instead of Starfelt, I would be like lying in the shower in a ball now, crying. Listen, I think Starfelt was a great player for us. Can we cope with his loss? It remains to be seen, but we're going the right way about trying to cope with his loss and bringing players in to replace him swiftly.
Stephen, how are you feeling about the whole situation? I mean, he's obviously, as much as he had his sort of critics, and I was a fan, but I definitely criticised him at times. I felt like sometimes I always say that when he gets the ball, it was like a Hatate and he didn't look comfortable on it. As much as everybody says he's a ball-playing defender, I thought it was a struggle for him at times when he was put under pressure. But you can't deny the partnership he built with CCV. I mean, they didn't lose a game together domestically, which is an unbelievable achievement. So it's going to be a loss, isn't it?
Oh, definitely it's going to be a loss. I mean, you look at the fact, as you said, you can't disrespect the record him and Carter Vickers.
Sorry, Stephen.
Him and Carter Vickers had together, as you said, didn't lose a domestic game last season. And Starfelt did get criticised, but I think that's...
Take a panic attack.
Starfelt, he did get criticised, but I think that was more to do with the fact how good of a player Carter Vickers was. We were kind of holding him to that pedestal of, can he match him? Can he do this? Can he do the same things? And he couldn't necessarily do it, but I think that Ross made a great point. He was a right-sided centre half. He never really played there, and he had to fit in beside Vickers somehow, and he'd done it really well. And I know what you were saying, Willie, like, every defender has a mistake in them. Do you know what I mean? I think Starfelt had a couple, but again, didn't lose a game domestically, and I think that's a record that can't be sniffed at. Him to go 28 years old to Celta Vigo to La Liga, for me, is a cracking move. It's for Jacinta, closer to Portugal, down the road, whatever, jump in the car, you get to see your missus and that. But again, he's playing in a better league, let's be honest. He's playing under Rafael Benitez, I think there's their manager. So there's big pools there as well, not just the fact that he's got our friend is over in European shores too. And you look at Navrocki, and what I liked about Carter Vickers today, and it gave me confidence in the new centre-half pair, and he was like, he can see his qualities in training already, he's shown what he can do, and it's about building that kind of into the team, and they learn what they're going to do with each other, tendencies, movements, defensive qualities, and stuff like that. And I think with Navrocki too, I think with the Rocky as well, you have to look at it from this point. Like you said, Ross, he's far more comfortable playing the ball out. And you said too, Willie, he breaks into the centre midfield. And what that brings to the game is as well, he breaks the press of the opposition. There's just one movement, just through the middle of them, and we'll have space for the midfield to kind of link the attack up and whatever happens after that. But yeah, I like the Rocky. He looks really quick and he's made of sturdy stuff. He comes from a hard league. We've seen what Lega Warsaw. I mean, they're no mugs. They beat us before, and obviously we've had success there with like Ivanovic and all coming from us to us from there. And was it Gustav Lagerbilk is the Swedish centre half coming in? Is the Swedish centre half coming? He looks more of a, I would say, what you call not development player. He's going to play a big part in the squad, but a younger type profile coming in. He's really made his professional breakthrough in the last couple of years, and everything I've seen of him, he loves the cross-field ball. He can connect really well with the midfield. He's left-sided, I believe, and everyone in Sweden believes he's a top defender coming through. He's got an international cap, and he played with a club on loan 2 years ago that wore the green and white hoops, so he knows what it's like, kind of, to wear the semi-professional green and white hoops. So I'm excited for them too, especially. Starfelt's a big loss, but we got €5 million, I believe, for him. We recouped the transfer fee. We made a somewhat small profit, but it seems like that's been reinvested back into the Rocky, and that's a good sign for me. They're planning to bring a younger guy in, probably of the same level, and could get better with potential. But for me, you asked Ross the question: do we need people there? I still believe we do. I think 3 centre halves for me is not enough. I think Kobayashi, I've led to believe on Twitter, he's been told to look for a new club. Welsh is always linked the way, and I feel sorry for Welsh. I really do.
You're reading Twitter again.
No, I really do feel sorry for Welsh because he's a good player, but he's not Celtic level. Bosun Lawwell's apparently going on loan to the Austrian feeder club that we've kind of had a link with. This has been confirmed. This has actually been confirmed, Willie.
How do you see all this stuff? I've never heard any of this.
Well, it's an Austrian feeder club in the second division. It's like they're called like Flacker or something like that. But a couple of our young players are going there, and it leaves us short. I still think we need one more to come in the door, centre half, and you can't run the free, in my opinion, because if Vickers get injured, then you're stuck with the Rocky and Gustav Lagerbilk, and if one of them gets injured, you have to plan for these eventualities. And I hope we do get another one in, definitely. But Starfelt, he'll be a big miss. I liked him. We all kind of had a running joke that he was giving a bit of grief in that, but he's a really, really good defender for us.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you've kind of answered the next question, so I'll just go to Ross. But we've got kind of the forgotten men. We've got Kobayashi and Welsh and Scales. Do you think they're sufficient backup for? I mean, if we get, I don't know if this is it Lagerbecken?
Lagerbilk or Bielka, whatever.
Right. If is that confirmed or is it just still? It's not confirmed yet, is it?
The fee's been agreed. He's come over for a medical. Did
Romano tell you that? Aye.
So was Caicedo. Look what happened there.
So if you've got the 3, are the likes of Welsh and Kobayashi and Scales sufficient backup, Ross? Or
well, like Stephen said there, I think Kobayashi, he might be loaned out. I don't think he'll be sold, but he might be loaned out. I think Bosun Law, I think, like Stephen says, he's going to be loaned out. So that leaves you with Scales and Welsh. Me personally, I think in bringing 2 centre halves in this window, I don't see us bringing in another one. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think there's a great need for it. I think that for talking sake, if your centre half pairing going forward is going to be CCV and Navroki, the chances of 2 of them getting injured at the same time are pretty slim. I know it could happen, but they're pretty slim. Aye, but it is pretty slim. I think if one of them gets injured, Bielka comes in, you would have to say it would probably be Bielka, given that it's going to be a Rodgers signing. Then, I mean, if you got another injury and it was during the Champions League group campaign, you would be worried then. But the chances are so slim that Celtic would end up losing, let's say, Carter Vickers and Navrocki at the same time, and we had to go into that with Bielka and Welsh. It's very slim, so slim that I don't think Celtic will go into the market for another centre half that's going to be better than a Welsh, for instance. I think they'll be quite happy to take the chance. Again, I say it, the slim chance. I think there's a chance, clearly a higher chance that you'll get one of them injured. I would be comfortable then, again, not having seen Bielka, but trusting that he's going to be good enough to come in, or he might be that he's the one that comes in and partners Carter Vickers. I don't see the great need. I understand where Stephen's coming from, but because of the minute chance of being left without your two first choice centre halves at the same time, I don't think, for me, I would go into the market. I think the money could be better spent in other areas of the pitch, which we'll probably go on to. So no, for me, I wouldn't sign another one. I'd be quite happy going with what will probably look like Welsh or Scales. Scales might go out as well. I've got a bloody fly.
I think he will go out.
Fucker got to behind this. This is mock it. Every week I've got a fly.
I thought you were raving there.
I wish I could rave like that when there was a beat on. But I would be quite comfortable knowing that it'd be highly unlikely that we had to use them. But if we did have to use them, it would be alongside one of our first choice centre halves, and I'd be okay. I mean, it'd be highly unlikely that Welsh and Scales would be used. I think the option of Bielka or Navrocki will be enough going forward throughout the season to stand us in good stead.
I think as well, we have to appreciate, by the way, like how seamlessly Carter Vickers does come back into that lineup with no pre-season, no kind of pre-season training or games, and he just looked like he picked up where he left off, and he was solid. And you're kind of safe with that thought that Carter Vickers is back, isn't it? And he obviously wasn't his best game, Ross, but I'm saying he's just kind of fitted back in, and he's come into the team, and he's took that pressure off, because without Carter Vickers, we all were led to believe he wasn't coming back to maybe end of September. He must have done some recovery work and to get back in shape for the start of the season. And I think for us, that is fantastic, having him just in the squad and starting. It's such a big relief. And as you said there, look, for me, my point still stands, but I get what you're saying 100%. Scales for me is no doubt going to go back out and loan, whether it's Aberdeen or somewhere else permanently. It's going to happen. Welsh is just that guy, like a John O'Shea, who just sticks about waiting to play maybe 3 or 4 games a season if he's lucky. But yeah, I get what you're saying, but I still think we need Norman. But yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll fire into that later on again. I'm sure. I kind of feel the same way about the striker situation as you talked about there. I think it's highly unlikely we're going to have 2 of them out at once, and we've got Maeda that can step up there. But we'll touch on that later on. But Ross, I just want to come back to you quickly as well. I kind of wanted to touch on this as well, and it kind of things around the Starfelt situation about how honest Rodgers has been throughout the whole process during the week there. Because I can guarantee you, I'd bet my mortgage on it, if Ange got asked the question why Starfelt wasn't starting at the weekend, he wouldn't have uttered a word. But Rodgers was open and honest with us as fans, and told us everything that was going on. And I thought it was really refreshing. And again, during the week, he's letting us know what's going on. And I think he was questioned by Sky Sports about him leaving, and he said, no, I mean, I think the fee's agreed, but he's flying over there at this moment in time. And they asked him about this new centre-half, and he says nothing's agreed as of yet, but it's somebody we like the look of. Do you think it's refreshing that he's being open and honest with us about this sort of stuff, or do you kind of err on the side of Andrew's still doing it now. Apparently Harry Kane's went to him very first meeting, and said he's looking to move on. And Andrew's never uttered a word. He's saying, no, as far as I'm aware, he's not going anywhere until the day where he's like, he's away. I just think for us, it's really, really refreshing. Well, for me anyway, personally, I think it's really, really refreshing about how honest Brendan's been about these sort of situations in the last week or so.
I would have to agree with that. I think it's probably partly been forced upon him and not by any outside parties. I think it's been a decision he's made. I mean, I'm only surmising, but I would say that's a decision he's made himself in terms of the way he left the club the last time, and it was all the snake and the dishonesty. I think he's just took the stance now. I'm just going to be up front with the fans, tell them exactly how it is, keep them in the loop all the time, and that way Brendan Rodgers covers Brendan Rodgers, but he's also treating the fans with a bit of respect. And listen, anybody in any walk of life covers their own back. I don't care what anybody says. You do. We slag Michael Beale. All he's done for him in the door is cover his own back. But he's looking after number one. Don't get me wrong, Rodgers hasn't went to that extent. But there is a bit of sort of covering his own back there. But I agree. I really like it. And I hope he keeps doing it going forward, because that on Saturday, we were all sitting there. And at the time, I think we were on the podcast, so we didn't actually hear the interview. And we were all sitting, Ken, will Starfelt go? It's put to bed like that in an instant. He's going to go. It looks like it. We're working on somebody else. I'm not telling you who, because that's the point where it becomes disrespect between clubs, players, etc. But all you need to know is, right now, he is going for reasons that, again, we won't divulge, but you all know. And we're working to get another guy in the door. So I think, personally, that's how it should always be. I think Neil Lennon had an element of that in him. He was a Celtic man. He always thought about the club first and foremost. And I think you've seen that to an extent with Rodgers in the early stages of his tenure.
I agree.
What are you laughing at?
Alistair's saying I'm turning on Ange. I'm not turning on Ange. I still love him for everything he does. But aye, Stephen, for me, it's really refreshing. And like Ross said, he stated all the facts. He was nothing but respectful. He said, listen, this is his decision. This is what he wants to do. He's been a great servant for the club and he's moved on. So it wasn't like a knife in the back. I know, like Ross said about Lennon there, and I know it wasn't his finest hour, but when he went off his nut and said that people wanted to leave in the Champions League and all the rest of that, it wasn't quite. It was still. How do you feel? Do you think it's refreshing that he's been dead on it? For me, you know me with fucking rumours, can't stand them. So he just puts them to bed. I'm like, yes, can't wait for the podcast. I can just say, the Daily Record top mints, the gaffer said it.
I mean, if you rewind to that cup final, we watched it in Grace's, and the anxiety going through your brain that me and Ross were so certain that Kyogo was away. He had the opportunity to tell us in the post-match kind of interview with Martin O'Neill and the pundits, and he said he's going on holiday. I think at that point, Willie, you still kind of believed him, and then boom, literally 48 hours later, he's the new Spurs manager. That for me, he should have said something that was going to happen. And Rodgers,
I don't think so.
But for me, Rodgers kind of has no choice in this instance, being truthful, because like you said, Ross, and I totally agree. Yeah, 100%, Pam. I totally agree with what you said, and the fact that he's come back the second time. No one's going to buy the. Yeah, we know he's a Celtic fan, but no one's going to buy the stories. No one's going to buy the shite that managers usually say. And Rodgers won't get away with that. So we all said it from the start, from his very first kind of press conference type interview media thing with Celtic TV, that he's business. Like, he's there to do a job. He's not there to fill us full of shit no more, which he did the first time. If we look back on it, 100%. Obviously, he delivered great success with that, but the way he left kind of leaves a bitter taste in everyone's mouths, including myself at that time. So he has to come in. He has to be honest. It's like he's not backed into a corner, so to speak, but if someone asks him a direct question, he can't bat around it no more. Do you know what I mean? He can't be like, oh, they're staying, we've had no contact. He's going to be clean. He's going to be truthful. And I think for us, I think that's fine.
That's Fed's situation. In that very press conference, he was like, "I don't know." He actually said outright, "I don't need any more wingers." I don't understand.
I think he was pissed off at that time.
But that was coming near the end of the stay with us. I'm on about, like, if you're looking at it now. Well, Danny McGrain's story for one. Everyone knows that's bullshit.
There was the whole Dembele hanging, the rumour Rodgers going to, was it Saudi or whatever?
Yeah,
and then
I'll take you with me, all that kind of stuff.
Listen, it's all rumours. Well, he doesn't like
it. Yeah, 100%. But I think for me, Rodgers, it's refreshing. It's a change, and I like the change. And like you said, Willie, it eliminates me putting rumours into the chat every day, and you're cracking up, and it's like 8:30 in the morning, and I'm going Starfelt's away. But it takes all that away, because we knew it was going to happen. We knew it was happening on Saturday. And it just took whatever amount of days to put that through for him to join Celta Vigo. And also, by the way, maybe a parting gift, but Starfelt's agent played a big part in Gustav Lagerbielke coming to us. He's Starfelt. He's his agent as well. So maybe a wee bit of a parting gift there from Starfelt's point, getting something sorted out before he left, which would be quite good if you're thinking in a dream sense. But yeah, having Rodgers being like this, I'm liking it. It's business-like. It's straight to the point. And for me, he's going to wipe the fucking floor with them cunts across the city. 100%.
Oh, you just dropped the steam off. No, yeah, but it's not just like.
Sorry. See you next Tuesday.
You're right. It does put you at ease as well. I mean, the post match, he said after he said he was away, very respectful, and then he was asked, "So will you be looking to bring somebody in?" He was like, "Yep, and that just straight away puts you at ease. If it was maybe previous, we wouldn't have known. No, there's no rumour. That's just rumours and all the rest of it. He'd have been gone on a Tuesday, and we're all wondering, oh my God, are we going to get somebody in? But you're right. He said, no, we're getting somebody in. But yeah, we'll definitely need to strengthen if Carl goes. Done. Everyone else is sitting quite happy, relaxed. And I mean, you're right, on his return, he has done that because even with remember when he got asked about if he's going to spend 15, 20 million on a player, and he was, again, open and honest, he said, I don't think that's our model. It's not going to happen. We're going to look and continue with the work that we've been doing and all that. It's just, I just really, really think it was refreshing. And I thought it'd be nice to chat about it tonight because I think it's really, really refreshing that he's been open and honest with us fans. It's good. It's all good. I thought you were going to say something there, Ross.
I was just going to say, apart from when he told us he was going to stay for the full 3 year.
Look, when Luton Town come calling, he's making that move, trust me. 100% Corvo, listen.
Anyway,
I'm an agent. I'm a scout. 100%.
Steven doesn't care what we get in. We just need to spend the money. So if he spent 40 million, we'd be laughing. So,
by the way, see if I was seeing that Corvo comment. Was it Corvo?
Yeah.
If I was, I don't know who actually said that. It was Stephen. You said he would go to Luton Town. If I was Rodgers, I would go to Luton Town. I mean, what better way to manage your team for your living room on a Saturday afternoon?
I've seen all the memes like where if they're going to VAR, they hate to just jump into this house and rewind it in Sky Plus. Quality, man.
Brilliant.
That's nuts. Can't wait to see all that. Next one I kind of want to just touch on just quickly because it's just, again, I hate rumours. But Stephen, your man...
You love rumours.
I hate them. Mm-hmm. Your man's rumoured the reason he was dropped because he slept in, Bernabei time. What do you make of that story?
Me?
Yeah, I did say.
I mean, to be fair, we were all shocked that he was left out of the squad. And we kind of speculated it was injury, but it obviously wasn't. The wee man needed a sleep. Now let's remember here, right? He's running about there with. See
if this is Joe Hart that slept in and he would be like,
listen, right? He's running about there with a wee child in the house who probably had a bad night. He's melted out. He's lying in the bed. He's looked around. He's thought to himself, the team buses in 20 minutes. I'll snooze it. No way you snooze it before you go to work. And you wake up and it's like 12 o'clock and you're like, oh, fuck. I need to ring someone here. That's what he's done. That's what... I have, listen.
There's a boy at the top as well when he's defending. Just hit the snooze button and I'll wait till I'm going forward.
So is that what Greg Taylor done for Ross County second goal? Stood there like a mannequin and got rinsed?
Nah, he just won a penalty.
But here, let's be honest, right? Rodgers has confirmed he won that penalty by getting the ball. It wasn't any good play, Ross. But
he skinned the guy. He did
skin the guy. The ball was knee high and he dipped the toe in and he got pulled down. There was no body better.
He didn't drop you. Said, fuck right, you, Stephen, and then fell.
Right, Bernabei, Rodgers did confirm that there has been a few issues during the summer, maybe 2 or 3 incidents. And obviously he wants to sort that out. I mean, fuck's sake, Rodgers managed Luis Suarez, probably most incident-packed footballer that's ever walked the face of the planet, and he managed to get a tune out of him. I have no doubt in my head that Bernabei's going to be a key player this season. Yeah, it's kind of comical that he slept in and stuff like that. He's been disciplined for it. He looked happy in training today. He had a smile on his face. Even Rio Hatate, by the way, had a smile on his face. And we all know the problems that Rodgers has with him at the minute. So we look at it from that instance. He's going to be back in the team. He's going to play a major part. He slept in. Big whoop. Big whoop. That's all I can say. It happens. Everyone slept in. Have you ever slept in for a job, Willie? Have you ever slept in for a job, Ross? Of course we have. It's human nature to do that.
No, if I was playing with Glasgow Celtic, I wouldn't.
I just can't believe that you made the point that Rodgers got a tune out of Luis Suarez, a world-class footballer.
He was plagued with. No, but behaviours. That's what I'm talking about. His behaviour was insane. Like, that's nothing compared to what Bernabei's doing. Do you know what I mean? Bernabei's doing wee stupid things like a teenager would do. But I've no doubt that that'll come out of him.
I didn't even want to put this in the topics because it's just such a silly thing, Ross. But what do you make it?
Listen, it's one of the things, like Stephen says, it happens. It shouldn't happen. Well, it's not. Well, it shouldn't happen, but it happens. I don't know how he's done it because I was up at 5:30 on Saturday morning, and I was only got to watch the game. I was that excited. So I don't know. I don't know how you sleep in for that when you're playing in it. But listen, he's obviously had a late one. He was up watching the last leg on Friday night or something. Fell asleep on the couch. I don't know. But listen, it happens. But Rodgers, he's just in the door. He has to sort of show his authority and the standards that he wants everybody to like reach the standards that he is going to set. And that starts, Rodgers is a consummate professional. And that starts for timing. Roy Keane was massive on timing. He used to crack up at, like, I've never seen it at first hand, but you've heard the stories. He used to crack up at guys that were late. Like, I can't mind who it was. He was supposed to be going on a night out with somebody, Roy Keane or something, and he was all ready to go, and the guy turned up 5 minutes late. And when he got there, like, Roy Keane was just in his trackies or whatever. I'm not going.
How ironic is what you're saying? He's supposed to be going on a night out, and the wee man was late.
But like, Roy Keane never went. He was just like, "No, you were late. That's it." But that's the standards you have to set. Celtic, Rodgers wants to hit the same heights as he did the last time. I don't know why I scalped myself on the side of the heat there. But he wants to hit the same heights, and that starts right now. And if a guy sleeps in, you have to make an example of him. And he did that. Yep, and that'll be it totally to bed. He might well be, well, he probably will be in the squad for Sunday. He might well even start. But for that game, he missed an important meeting. Well, we've probably talked tactics, talked about the game. You're not playing because you're not ready. You've not heard any of it.
He's world class, mate. Doesn't need to hear it.
This is going to be fun this season.
So cute when you talk shit.
I know. Looks like Bernabei is also picking up mini diggers because he was there early. Brown Warrior was there early doors. He didn't turn up to 2 o'clock, so Bernabei's obviously the same.
What?
Evening, Monty.
Hello, Monty.
Men and Stephen.
Right, Stephen, obviously you're want to talk about it, so let's touch on the comments about Hatate and his attitude recently. Why are in?
I think it's absolutely fantastic. I really do. I told you this before, I thought he was absolutely rank rotten in pre-season. He was trying things that weren't on. He was doing round the corner passes on his own 18-yard line, giving the ball away, conceding goals. And listen, Rio Hatate, it can be and probably will be a world-class player. But it goes back to what Roger said. This is a clean slate for everybody. Turnbull's come in, he's scored goals, he's took his opportunity, and he's looked really good doing that. And like Roger said, it's different to the way Postecoglou plays. That he's told Hatate what he wants, and from what we all know, from what he's saying, he's responding well in training, right? But what I would say is this whole Casado move, that watch the space for Brighton, could be something coming off it. But I'm glad, because you said it, Ross, it lays down a marker. He's done it with Bernabei. He did it with Hatate. If I stepped in for it, my boss would swing me around the room like a Johnny. What's he going to do when Hulkamania goes wild over you? But
that is some train of thought. Sorry, Stephen.
But Willie's gone. He was like maybe you farted. But
I never farted. Don't you talk about?
Every Friday the 3 years are on, it gets fucking out of control, man.
Oh,
I think it lays down a marker, right? Because we said it on Saturday. It's a big statement leaving him out, a massive statement leaving like a player Rio Hatate out. And look, I hope it pushes him on. I really do. But I've looked at it, and look, I'm not a body language expert. I don't want to be fucking pigeonholed here, but he doesn't look himself. He doesn't look like, not to the extent he doesn't want to be there, but I think he knows. He said it in summer when he was away. If the opportunity arises, he wants to take the opportunity. And I've no doubt in my head, and Rodgers said today in his Wednesday, weirdly enough, in his press conference, that players will go. And we just have to watch and see. And if we lose Rio, I've no doubt, like they've done with Naraki, they'll have someone lined up to come in and replace him, because I don't believe I have anyone in the squad, anybody, who can replace Rio Hatate in terms of when he's on his day and what he can do on the pitch. And Rodgers has done the best thing for me. You have to drop players. I mean, that famous clip, I don't know if you've all seen it, when Sterling was just a wee kid, and he was like in the training facility, I think it was like in pre-season, and Rodgers stopped the training and was like, if you disrespect me again, I'll send you home or something.
It was Sterling. It was Raheem Sterling.
That's what I mean. Raheem Sterling, he's like 17 or something at that point. But it's laying down a marker, and that's what we need. So I mean, we're not blind. We knew Rio Hatate wasn't playing well. Turnbull came in some pre-season games, made the difference, and he scored 2 goals against Ross County. I think his decision's been justified.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm not into all that stuff that Rio's said, this, that, and the next thing. These things can get lost in translation.
Well, he did.
Especially journalists. How?
Well, he did say it. It hasn't been made. I'm sure if he didn't say it, he would have come out publicly and said, I didn't say that.
Was it in English he said it? So
Dan Orlowitz said he said it.
Yeah, he didn't say next week, though, did he?
No, he said if the opportunity arises. This is what I mean.
Yeah.
That could mean at any 4 or 5
point. Years. Doesn't mean he's gone
tomorrow.
Could,
but
and also, I hate all this body language. Everybody's a fucking body language expert now. Nobody knows what's going on in his life. He could have had something going on in his life that's got him down, and he's feeling that way. And I agree. I think Rodgers has dealt with it the right way. Everybody's culpable. So if he's not playing, if he's not doing what Rodgers is asking of him, then he gets dropped. That's fine. But I hate all this chat about, oh, he doesn't look up for it. He's this, that. He's not interested. He doesn't want to be here. No, there's been many a time he said he's happy here also. So I just think people focus on that narrative again far too much. I think he's a top player. I think he'll come good again.
Yeah, he is.
I think he does need maybe he did need a boot up the arse, and that's what he's got. But like you said about Bernabei, I wouldn't be surprised if he was back in that team on Sunday, firing all cylinders. I thought he looked really good when he came on against Ross County. So, but I'm pleased with the way Rodgers has went about it. But I don't think, again, he's as John would say, these rag newspapers. Pretty sure the quotes I seen for Brendan today, there was nothing in there to go. They just word it in a way that is as if Brendan's like saying
provocative,
things
provocative.
And it's not. I don't think that's the case. I think if we actually seen his live interview, it would just be, listen, he needs to improve on this. We've talked about stuff, and that's that, and it just gets turned, it snowballs into something that's not, and then people latch onto it. I just don't like it at all. But Ross, what do you think about the whole situation? As we talked about before, where Rodgers has dealt with it, and that's the end of it.
Well, it's that transparency again for Rodgers. He said that I expect certain things from my players if they want to play for me. Quite clearly, he's not been picked, so he hasn't been doing the things that Rodgers expects. But there's that sort of change of manager, that change of style. So maybe he's adjusting to that. Listen, I will not claim to be a body language expert. Rio Hatate, in pre-season, looked out of form. David Turnbull was playing well. Brendan Rodgers, he's come in, it's a clean slate. He's going to pick the man that's doing the job for him at the minute.
That's
Rio
a great one.
I'm not so sure about that.
So. I think he was just praising Turnbull.
Sure
Turnbull's had a tough time under Ange. And he's came and had a stonking performance in a good pre-season. I think O'Reilly's obviously very powerful when he wants to praise Turnbull, and that's it. That's the end of it, I think, for me.
I think he's praising Turnbull. There's no undercurrent or underlying message or whatever, in my opinion. He's played with Rio Hatate and it's worked really well for nigh on 2 years. But What I will say is, I'll go back to it. Hatate hasn't played well. Turnbull has done well to get the jersey. If you're asking me now, again, Hatate will have to show in the coming games that he's up for the fight and stuff like that. But if it was the Hatate last season and the Turnbull that we're seeing now, and the Turnbull Ange's first 6 months in charge, going into Ibrox, I would still, even the Hatate right now, I would still probably go for him at Ibrox, because Turnbull's had enough chances at Ibrox in big games, and he does fade in the big games, and he isn't as effective. That worries me if he's going to have the jersey going into Ibrox, because I say he might have matured and he might be better and he might be up for the fight at Ibrox. I don't know, but if you ask me right now, I would still go with Hatate in that game, because I think it's all, well, not pretty obvious. Some people won't agree, but I think Hatate on his day is a better player than David Turnbull. I think they're different players, but he is a better player. But I don't know. Listen, again, it's a rumour thing. I don't know if Hatate's going to go or he's going to stay. But like Stephen, that Brighton rumour has been circling for nigh on a year now, and it's always been hinging on Caicedo going. Caicedo is going to go. The big thing for me now, I would love us to keep Rio Hatate, and like Stephen, we'll probably come on to it. I don't know. I'm not saying for sure we've got a ready-made replacement in the building for Hatate. I think Iwata could be that. I'm not saying he can be that, but he could be that. Listen, time will tell on that. But the one thing that worries me, other than Caicedo leaving, and that might be what's hinging on him going to Brighton, is the fact that he came in at the same time as Maeda. Maeda's signed a new long-term deal. Rio Hatate hasn't he? I don't know if he's been offered it. For me, I think if he doesn't go in this window, I think it might be January. But right, every Tuesday, kid. Bump into him every night, every Tuesday. But listen, I don't know what's going to happen. I've not got a crystal ball, but what I do know is Hatate's a good player, and I believe that if he wants to be at Celtic, he will come good again. He'll pick up the way that Rodgers wants to play. The standards that Rodgers sets, which by the way are no higher than I believe what probably Ange set. Well, I mean that's a fair point, Joe. That I watched him on Wednesday night, and I wasn't impressed by them. Me and you said it. Well, it looked like they were playing a front three in number nines. It just there was no pace. It just looked kind of no balance to it. But anyway, that's enough about them. Rio Hatate can be a great player for Celtic if he wants to be here, and he will be a great player for Celtic again if he wants to be here. Does he want to be here? That remains to be seen.
Aye, agreed. Before I move on, we've got loads in the chat. I really appreciate you coming on again tonight. A beautiful wee community here, and there's been back and forth, and I've seen that Monty and Pam have both got new jobs. So congratulations to you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
All looking up. Aye. I don't think there's much more to say on that. We're going to move on to. We've been an hour. I think this is going to be another hour here. But Stephen, we've got 3 weeks left in this window. What do you want to see?
What I want to see, Willie, is Celtic saying first team ready players.
Right,
the only one.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Listen, I've had my feet up all day, just chilling, knowing this is going to come.
Get my feet in your fucking mouth.
But the way I look at this, right, we've signed 5 players. So if we go through them, Yang, not a starter. Kwan, development player. Tilio, injured. Because they would have been in the team already, obviously pre-season under their belt.
Not necessarily. They don't need to rush them in. We've said that about
Can I get my point then?
Aye, sorry, aye.
Don't know. Right, so Tilio injured, Home, by the way, I think he could push to maybe be a starter. Naraki's the nailed-on guy who's the starter, right? 100%. We all know this. He's come in to replace Starfelt. I am genuinely, I used the word with Moy, I'm going to use it again. I'm underwhelmed by this transfer window. Like, this is not me believing all the hype before Rodgers come in that we're going to spend 30, 40 million pounds in terms of a kitty for the summer. No, I'm not buying that for 1 minute. You sent in something last night to the chat, Willie. Alex Scott, I believe his name is, joined Bournemouth for 26 million pounds or whatever it was from Bristol City. Was it Bristol City? Right? And you asked me, how can we compete, right? The reason why we have to work smart in the market, right? But that doesn't mean we're scrimping around looking at Korea, looking at Japan, looking at Iran, looking at all these markets. That's no disrespect, by the way. For £1 million, £2 million development projects or to come in and hope they are good, which, by the way, is 9 times out of 10 what we do. We're hoping that these players turn out well. This is all dependent on Mark Lawwell and the scouting system, which is 100% working at the minute. But we've got cash in the bank. No way, Mark. By the way, that's a load of shite, that comment. We've got cash in the bank. We've qualified for the Champions League. We've sold Jota for 25 million quid. We've got money from Japan coming in for the tour. We've got money from Australia. That time we did the Sydney homecoming for Ange Postecoglou. And where is it? What's it doing? What benefit is it serving us as a club? Sitting in a bank. All it is to make, when we do our interim results in September, which they've told us twice, by the way, is going to be astronomical figures. Yeah, it's great to look at a club who's in the black in terms of there's no debt and the 60 million cash reserves. 100%. Well done. Congratulations to the club. We need to reinvest that back into the team. We need to take a risk. I know you say spend the money doesn't get you a player, but spending less money doesn't guarantee you a player either. Yeah, it limits the risk of what you're spending. But we as a club, compete in Europe is what we talk about season on season. But yet we go in with the same dilemmas, the same issues. We're not spending. We're not improving on the squad. We have, for me, in my opinion, we're weaker than we were last season. We've lost Starfelt. We've lost Jota. We could potentially lose Hatate if the rumours come to circulation. We've lost all these key players. Jota's not been replaced. Starfelt has to an extent. We've lost Moy, even though I didn't like Moy. He played a pivotal role in 3 or 4 months of the season. Effectively, he hasn't been replaced either. We're getting squad players to come in and beef out the squad. We should not be doing that anymore. We should be improving on the first team players that we already have. Look, you look at Greg Taylor, by the way, and look, we all love Gregory. We all do. Gregory, it was a running thing last season. But in that Wolves game, he got bullied by Semedo. In the Ross County game, he stood like a mannequin while their player got in the box. Didn't know what he was doing. And by the way, Bernabei probably did the same thing. There you go. Fair enough. I knew one of you were going to say it. But we have to improve the team. We're running about with Ralston at right back. Why can we not go and get another quality right back in to challenge Johnson? To challenge him for a first team place? It seems like to me we're afraid of players coming in who could potentially take over from what we already have. Like, take the risk. 8, 6, 7, 9 million quid. Are we going to be sitting in 2029, 2030 and we're going, the odds of Edward record hasn't been broken? £9 million? Are you trying to say that's out of the realms of possibility for a club like us to do? Yeah, it might not work out, but we don't know until we spend the money. And it pisses me off that it's an excuse-making culture all the time about risk, about profit sheets, about bank balances, about we don't want to risk the club. We are in the best position we ever have been as a club in terms of finance, maybe since Rodgers' first tenure, and we've done nothing. We've signed players probably equaling £9 million quid, 5 players in the door. Well done, 100%. But by God, come on, we should hold more ambition than that. And for European football, which I've no doubt will get the group of death, we'll finish 4th and we'll say we'll try again next season. It's not the attitude for me. We need to do better than that. Sorry, I need to get off the chest.
Right. But you're talking about, you're saying that, like, by the way, I have never once said we should
I know,
right?
but I'm just saying,
money,
for me.
But it's not as easy. You say it as if it's as easy as going to get a fucking loaf of bread for the shop. It's not easy to find that talent for that money. I sent that last night because Bournemouth signed a boy that's played 2 seasons for Bristol fucking City, who's still a teenager, spending 26 plus million. McTominay, who we were linked with, has had a £30 million bid rejected, right? Now, we kind of touched on McTominay could come in, but there was a discussion whether he'd make our first 11. £30 million that's getting rejected for him. How are you meant to compete with that? Harry Maguire's going for £30 million fucking pound. How are Celtic meant to sign players like exactly?
I think he's good.
Like you said, it doesn't count for. I would give Celtic 20 million out and go and find me a striker better than Kyogo, and I think they'd struggle to find that. So it doesn't matter if you're spending that money. I'm happy for them to break the balance, but if the player's not there, I'm not wanting you just to spend money just because every Celtic fan's pissing and moaning on social media that we're not spending money. It's not sustainable. It's not possible. You can't. It just doesn't work like that. That's not how the world works. I used to get involved in online, what are they called?
Forums.
Online
groups.
chats and forums and groups and all the rest of it, getting my opinion across. I don't feel like I need to do that anymore because I've got this, and it's brilliant for me to get this off my chest.
Yeah.
But see, because every single day for the past fucking fortnight, all I've seen is the same thing day after day. Why are we not spending money? We need first team quality players, which I still don't understand what the fuck that means, by the way. I've had somebody online telling me, well, we did that last year, because I made the point that when Kyogo and Hatate and that came in, none of us knew who they were. We didn't go, these are the first team ready players. We didn't say that. We didn't hear a clue, just like many folk. Why are we not getting Tete? Why are we not getting Tete in? Who the fuck is Tete? I never heard of him until the other week here. What, because he played for Fenerbahce and gets 50 grand a week, we should sign him? No, that's not how it works. I've not heard of him either. That model worked there. We got Hatate, Kyogo and all that, and these players could be the same. Jan could come in and be Jota. It's not looked like it so far. He's a young boy. Let him get in. But it just doesn't work that way. I just don't understand how people can say, right, go and fucking spend the money. It's not as easy as that. If you've got the money, just go and spend it. No, it needs to be quality. We could end up with another Yeti or Barcast and all that as well. So it doesn't matter how much we're spending. I couldn't give a fuck. See if we spent 50 million Kyogo or 4 million. Couldn't give a fuck as long as he's quality. So it just winds me up. How the fuck can you see that McTominay and teenagers are going for 20, 30, 40, 50 million and we should compete with that for first team players? But we got Kyogo for the J League. He was definitely going to be a first team player. Well, the J League coefficients are 20th in the world and the Scottish Premier League 17th. So according to that, the Scottish Premier League's better than the J League. So that dispels any of that nonsense that's been said. But they were internationals. Hatate never had an international cap before he came to Celtic, and he was arguably one of our best players the last 2 seasons. That model's working. You can't just go out and spend that money. Ross.
Listen, I agree with points that both of you have made. I look at it. I was one of the ones at the start of the window when Rodgers came in. I thought he's not going to come back here to spend sort of low-level money, if you like. But he also alluded to the fact that the model and the structure is working, and it's how he wanted it to be the last time. I really thought we were going to go into this window and maybe buy a couple of players between the £6 to £8 million bracket. And by the way, it might still happen. I don't think it will, but it might. It's not happened so far. And I have said in previous podcasts that I'm slightly underwhelmed by the business done. But that is because of the business I thought we were maybe going to do. The business I thought we were maybe going to do. But I'm not willing to sit here right now and say that the guys we've brought in aren't good enough and they aren't going to make this team better at any point. They need time to bed in. Listen, when Hatate and Maeda and that came in, they needed to go right into the team. They had to, because we were in desperate need of them. Right now, the guys we've brought in, I don't think we're in... There's that fly again, for fuck's sake. I don't think we're in desperate need to put the guys right into the team. You said, Stephen, we lost Jota, right? Jota was an outstanding player for Celtic. There's absolutely no two ways about it. And you said we haven't replaced him, right? For me, I think we have. I think he was already here. I think Abada is his replacement. He's already the guy that's Rodgers is picking. I think he's a Rodgers winger. Now, Jota scored 12 goals last season, right? Now, he was a big game player. I'm not going to argue with that. He scored 4 goals against Rangers. He scored 2 in the Champions League, albeit one was a consolation in Madrid. He scored 1 in a cup final, which wasn't the winning goal. It was a last-minute goal against Inverness, which leaves 5 goals against the lesser teams, right? For me, that isn't a great deal for a guy that's playing on the left or right-hand side of a front three. Abada played a significant amount of games less than Jota did, certainly starts, and I think he got 13 goals. I know I'm not going to I'm not going to sit here and say that Abada's a better player than Jota, because he is not. But I think he goes about his work more efficiently in terms of his numbers. I think you'll see Abada getting more goals than Jota did last season. Assists is up for discussion, but I think he'll get more goals. So I don't think we'll miss Jota, but I don't think we'll miss him as much as we all think, because I think Abada will be a brilliant player for us. I think Abada, thank the Lord and his blessed mother. No, but I think Abada will do fine in there for Celtic, and I think he'll score a lot of goals. You look at the other guys we've lost. We've lost Starfelt, right? Again, it's not because he wanted to leave Celtic because he wasn't happy here, but he's went for other reasons. We've already got Navroki in. We've talked about him in terms of coming out. He looks better on the ball and stuff in Starfelt. I think most folk look better on the ball than Starfelt, to be fair. But and we've obviously got another defender looking like coming in. So we've addressed that. Again, you look at it and you go, right, okay. You can't say straight off the bat that they are going to be better than Starfelt, but you also can't say straight off the bat that they're not, because you know nothing about them. So it's wholly unfair to make that judgment. Then you look at, we lost Moy again through no fault of Celtic's. The guy retired. Already, we have seen last season that O'Reilly, the two of them sort of dovetailed, came in and out of the team, and O'Reilly done every bit as good a job as Moy. As much as I loved Moy and I championed him, O'Reilly was as good a player. Turnbull's came in. He's done the job. He scored 2 goals at the weekend. We never missed Moy one iota.
Is it good enough for Europe?
Hold on. Let me make my point here. So, I mean, we've addressed that, and it was players that were already there. But we've also brought in Thiago Home, who you have said, and we've all said, looks like a bit of a player. We're not saying he's going to go straight into that team, because that's a tough midfield three to get into. Right now, Hatate's not getting into that midfield three. So that tells you all you need to know about the level that they're playing at right now. Who was the other one we lost?
Jota, Starfelt, Moy.
Jota, Starfelt, Moy. Was there no? Oh no, it was possibly Hatate we were going to lose, but he isn't away yet. But listen, I'm not going to sit here again and say that the guys we've brought in have improved us. You can't say that definitively, but you also can't say that they haven't improved us. What I will say is, I think we've got more options now throughout across the squad. I think we've got slightly more bodies. Have we got more quality? That remains to be seen. But listen, the team was really good. They were playing at a really good level. They competed in the Champions League to a point. They couldn't get the finishing touch. Now, all these guys played in that Champions League before. They're going into it again with experience under their belt. I'm not going to say they're going to get second or third, because I don't know who they're getting yet. Celtic are at a point, and Celtic know where they are in the food chain, right? I would love to see Celtic going out and spending 10, 12 million on a player. I don't think it's going to happen. I never thought it was going to happen, even when it was all rumoured. I thought they were going to spend between 6 and 8 million on a player, and I think they might still do that if they can get Livakovic for a start. That's going to cost us in the region of 8 million. I don't know if that will happen. Again, it remains to be seen. But as I said, I was underwhelmed by our business in terms of because of what I thought we were going to spend. But right now, I'm not raging with it either. I'm okay with it. I understand where we are in the food chain in terms of our budget and stuff like that. And I think they are going into the right markets. You alluded to the fact that we need to stop going to. I don't even
didn't say stop.
Iran.
No, didn't say
no,
stop.
But sorry. misquoted you, right? Apologise. But what I'm saying is, you alluded to the markets that we're going into. But like Willie said, they have worked for us. Okay, there is the odd one that hasn't worked, but for the most part, they have worked. And I think Willie made the point the other night. I don't know, so I might be seeping this off him, but if Ange had made these signings, I think you'd be okay with it because you'd think Ange knows all about him. He's seen him playing in the J League. Rodgers hasn't, but we've got a network now that Rodgers said it right away. This is how I wanted us to work the last time, and they're doing it now. We've got a network going out there, finding players, taking them to Rodgers, and he's given the green light on these players once he's had a look at them. I'm quite happy with the model. I would like to see us maybe push the boat out for a Livakovic, because as much as I like Hart, if that deal is there for Celtic to do, we have to do it and push the boat out, because if we have serious aspirations of doing better in Europe, then you have to get a guy like that. Certainly at that position of the team, when Hart maybe isn't functioning to the level that we all expect, and I have to concede he maybe isn't, but at the same time, I don't want Celtic to rush that signing. If we can't get Livakovic, I don't want Celtic to just go out and go, right, we need to get that guy, we need to get somebody, so we'll just take him and end up with a Barca situation. I'm happy to go with Hart. If we have to wait another year to get somebody at the Livakovic level, I'm happy to wait another year, because Joe Hart will do all right. But to sum up, I'm okay with the business we've done right now. I would still like to see one or two come in. And Rodgers said, I don't know if you've seen it, he said in his press conference, one or two will come in and some will leave, i.e. fringe players. There'll be more business to come. The transfer window isn't shut. Right now, I think we've done okay. Can we do better? Of course we can. Will we do better? This again remains to be seen.
I mean,
I'd be bringing comments up there, by the way, and there's a lot saying to me that, Wally, you're talking nonsense, we hate to dip our pockets. I've never once said we shouldn't dip our pockets. I've never once said that. If the money's there and get us to spend it. Albeit, all I'm saying is, it's not as easy just to go and find that. See, here's a point, right? Say we spent, a couple of seasons ago, we spent 10 million in Kyogo and 12 million in Hatate. Would we be having this conversation about we need to spend money now? Because the quality's there out of the two players. Would we be having this conversation?
But you can't really say that, though, because we didn't sign him for 10, 12 million. But if we didn't sign him for that amount of money.
But if we did?
Well, you'd be questioning it at the time because it's from the J League. Of course you would. It's natural to do that.
Why does it matter?
Aye, but if they came in and played to the level, that they have, and we signed them for 10 or 12 million, would you be saying they've been excellent for that amount of money, or would you be saying it's been pretty shit because they never progressed in Europe?
If they played the level, that's a select two players. By the way, you've selected, that's fair enough. But if they played at that level, then they've set that bar. We can't go on that again. So, like, if we're trying to improve the squad, we need to keep spending money. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, what I'm saying, like, don't get me wrong, but what I'm saying is just not from you two in particular, but it's just hesitant. It's the risk. People don't want to take that risk. We could sign 6 players at £2 million and none of them make an impact on the team. But we won't question it because it only costs £2 million each player. We're not factoring in wages.
We could sign 3 at 12 million and still not get out of Champions League group.
I'd rather sign Ross. I'd rather sign 3 players at £12 million each that have made an impact in European football or world football. Then maybe it's not a household name, but they'll have Champions League experience.
You're not going to get that. Yeah. But it'll still be a gap. A £12 million player that Celtic can get will be as much a gamble as a £3 million player that Celtic can get, because Celtic
we're happy to stay down
but Celtic
there,
don't take punts. You think for a minute that Celtic take punts on a £3 million player? They don't take punts.
Do you think
everybody says Celtic are astute with their money? Celtic don't take punts. Celtic do their due diligence on every single player they bring in. They were looking at Telio for 2 years. It doesn't matter if it's £3 million or £12 million. It's not a punt, but
you've changed as well, Stephen.
It's the same level of risk as getting a £12 million player as a £3 million player.
Right, you're saying that. How do you know Celtic aren't? How do you know they're not trying to get these sort of players? But you can't They can't find that
They'll
player.
say they've tried. They'll 100% say they've tried. I know they will say it.
But you can't say they haven't.
If the window closes and we're as we are, you just can't really sit here and tell me that squad's good enough for European football. We have the.
Why are you saying that? I've never once said. I've never said that. Right? What I'm saying
it's
is,
good enough for Europa League.
What, like, I don't understand how many times I hate to say the same thing over and over again for it to register. If we can spend money, spend money. What I'm saying is, how the fuck can you spend money on your saying Champions League experience when there's young boys for 17-year-olds going for 30, 40 million in these bigger leagues? You can't buy that for 10, 12 million. If you're wanting that player, I use McTominay and Maguire as an example. 30 million getting rejected for them.
By the way, McTominay's only worth £11 million in my opinion. Like, if we could get McTominay for £11 million, I would have absolutely done it. But we can't. Plain and simple.
Yeah, no, 100%. But like you are narrowing this market down to the EPL. Like a Club Brugge, for example. No, listen, a Club Brugge, for example, who've done well in the Champions League. You trying to tell me we couldn't sign their star midfielder for 10 million quid, who's been the pivotal role in that team? We can't do that. You are thinking about McTominay. You are thinking about the names we've been linked with. That's fair enough. And Willie, by the way, just to clarify, I didn't mean that you said it. I mean, in terms of people who are going to come into this season again and make an excuse, the squad wasn't great enough for European football. We need to get past that thinking. Like, are you trying to tell me we can't go to French League One, for example, in Marseille? £8 million for a player? We can, of course we can. Like why is that in the realm of possibility?
We can't pay the wages at Marseille play. Absolutely no danger.
I wouldn't.
Give me a player from Marseille that we can get for £50 million that's Champions League quality.
Willie, now we're talking.
No, but that's what you're
saying. It's players of experience, mate. It's not just to go out. Do you think for 1 second Rodgers has come back here? Do you think for 1 second Rodgers has come back here going to the board, I'm happy enough with £2 million players? Of course he hasn't.
No,
but maybe it can't be done in this window. Maybe it'll be next summer. The big money will be spent. Rodgers he spent a good chunk of this summer assessing his squad. That doesn't leave a lot of time to get maybe the big players that he might spend that kind of money next summer. He might even spend in 1 or 2 this summer towards the end. I don't think it'll be £12 million players. I think it'll be maximum 8. But even at that, I don't think it's going to happen, to be perfectly honest with you.
See, the thing is as well, also, you say, just go out and do it. It's not as easy as that. There's a player.
I know.
Celtic aren't as an attraction anymore as they used to be. A player could come to us from, for example, Genk, played well in the Champions League. Right, we're wanting to sign you. But Middlesbrough in the Championship want to sign me as well. And they're offering me 60 grand a week. But that doesn't get talked about. So Celtic are fucking penny pinching again. This is the stuff I'm talking about. It doesn't necessarily. It's always so, let's jump on the fucking club and say they're not doing enough. How do we know they're not doing enough?
You just can't compete with Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
No, well, that's it. But that's it. And it's not because it's finances. Food change.
Fucking League One in England that could probably pay better wages than us. It's not as easy as just going, we're Champions League, right? You played with Club Brugge, I'm going to sign you then. That's not how it works. One, you're probably going to have to pay over the odds for them. Right? And I'm not talking 10, 12 million. If you've had a good season and a Premier League club sniffing, they're going to have to pay that money straight away. And the Saudis shown it recently as well. Nobody gives a fuck about legacies and winning trophies anymore. They're here to make money. So
I agree.
Celtic in the Champions League isn't as big as an attraction anymore. English League, that's where the money is made. Can I live in London? I could go and play for fucking Leyton Orient and earn 40 grand a week and live in London rather than Glasgow. There's all these things as well. So it's just not as easy as going out, and the market is stupid ridiculous right now. So if the right player's there and you spend the money and you can convince them, I'm 100% sure that the club would do that and Rodgers would do that. But it's,
and you would lap it up.
And it's not as easy as going out as buying a loaf of bread. Like I said, I just think it's far too much negativity and saying, and it's too easy to say why you no splashing the cash when
it's just a blame the board attitude at all costs, and it's.
Well, it's not blaming. I'm not blaming no board. I'm just saying.
Well, you're saying they're not pushing the boat out. Who's in charge of the finances? fucking
Well,
me.
that's Michael Nicholson and Chris Mackay, the finance director, of course. But I mean, you look at it like I'm not look. I get every side of this coin here, 100%. By the way, people in the
And
comments,
I get
this
where
is
you're
why
coming from.
this is what we usually get. We get a bit riled up, have a bit of a wee debate, and it calms down. So we get, I mean, it's good crack. But I just like I could say it till blue in the face. I just believe we need to get away from the fear of not kind of taking that risk or not. And well, you're right. By the way, bang on. You can't just do it. Which is what Mark Lowell should be scouting these players 100% for a year and seeing who's available. And by the way, I do think if Postecoglou was here, he'd be looking for that next level player too, because we're treble champions. Rodgers said it before. He said it again. I think it was Wednesday as well. That we're doing it from a position of strength, and this should be the time where we boom pedal to the metal.
I agree.
But it's the only summer really we could take the risk, if you know what I mean, because we have so much cash in the bank.
Sorry, I don't get that for you, Monty. We got Jota on loan, who was a nobody, by the way. Nobody even heard of him before. So the Celtic model got him on loan for a year, then spent money on him. So I don't understand your
and
point.
It was 6.8 million, not 12.
It wasn't like 12 million. So,
which is the region I would like to see Celtic spending on a player again before the window shuts on one or two. Well, I mean, you say one or two. Where are we going to buy? What position are we going to buy for at 6 to 8 million on that team?
What position?
Aye, looking at that team right now, right? You want us to spend? Right, you want us to spend 12 million. What position do you want us to spend £12 million on? Now, take out the goalie, because we've been linked to an £8 million player there, right? So take out the goalie. What position in that team, knowing that we're already bringing in another centre-half, what position in that team?
I've got two positions right off the bat.
Right.
Left back and right winger.
Right winger. So you would want to replace Abada?
Well, I mean, not necessarily replace him. Abada can play on the left as well, but I want that like quality player and a left back. I mean, I think it's no secret here. I think Taylor got destroyed against Semedo, and that's the type of physicality we're going to go up against in the Champions League.
I can't argue with that. Fair point. I take your point. I like Taylor. I thought he was. I thought he's been outstanding. I think he's been outstanding for us for 2 years. But if you can get somebody that's better than Greg Taylor, which you can, then go and do it. But again, it comes down to what Willie said, and I think it's a great example. Celtic might have tried to get these players. They might have tried to replace Taylor with a £12 million player, and that £12 million player has went, I like the look of Celtic. He's offered me 30 grand, but fucking Middlesbrough, like he said, are offering me 45 grand, 50 grand. I'm going to go there. I'm not saying we aren't underspending, but Willie's made a good point that we maybe are trying to buy players at a higher price. I know, but they maybe are trying to buy players at a higher price. But you're not just going to go, right, okay, that guy's $6 million. He's our first choice, right? Right, okay, right, he doesn't want to come to us because we can't offer him enough wages compared to X, Y, Z, right? Then you go, right, he's our second choice for that position. He's $6 million again, but we don't think he's as good as him. Do you just take your second choice then? Or maybe your second choice doesn't want to come as well. So it sort of works its way down. Listen, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Of course not.
Everybody wants to, like Willie says, jump on the club. I want to see Celtic spending £6 to £8 million. I said at the end of last season, you asked me, Stephen, on a podcast.
I did. Yeah.
What is the idea now, the thought process going into the summer window? And I said, buy players to take us to the next level.
Mm-hmm,
I still want that, and that is why I'm underwhelmed, because I don't think on paper we have bought players to take us to the next level. But again, like I said earlier, I can't sit here and say that the players we bought won't take us to the next level, because it's unfair having not seen them kick a ball, really. I've seen a wee bit of Yang. I'm actually quite impressed with him. I've seen a wee bit of Yang. I'm quite impressed with him. I'm excited to see Telio. Who else? Home, right? He's come in.
Mhm.
Again, I've said it's difficult to get into that midfield. They're operating at a really high level, you know, in my opinion, to the point where Hatate can't get in the team. I've said all this. But, listen, I don't know. I think
Ross,
I said
can I
that
say
what I
something?
wanted us to strengthen the first 11, and we might have, but you can't say for sure that we have or we haven't
Yeah.
right now.
Right, you
That's
said we
my
don't know
gripe
what.
with it all.
Hang on.
Speculated to accumulate, albeit taking measured risk. The Celtic model is working. We need to just up the game a little to compete. Yeah, I think that's what we're all saying in a roundabout way. But you said, Ross, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't. But as fans, we don't have to worry about that. We can speculate. We can think about who we can bring in. We can talk about fees. We're not making the big choices, right? We know what I mean. We don't have to worry about what they're thinking. Well, well, I know. Fuck me. But I just think, like, looking at the comments, it seems to be 50-50 split. I think people are agreeing with each other and stuff, and it's good to see the debate, by the way. I love seeing the debate. But I do agree with it in a sense where if we spend £8 to £68 million, it might not work out. That's fine. But move on. We'll try it again in a couple of years, whatever, when we're in the right space. But this is the right time for me to do it. We've got money in the bank. We can spend
Agree
it.
with that.
Right.
If
Yeah.
the players aren't there, then there's
Aye, it's the right time.
Willie,
Exactly,
come on,
it's the
there's
right
players
time
there,
to
mate.
do it.
Yeah,
But
blame them.
are we able to do it? But it might not be down to the club that we aren't doing it. You can't just go, right, we'll just take him because he's 8 million.
So, right, hold on. So you're trying to say to me right now, right, in world football, in a bracket between £68 million, right, I don't know them, right, I can't name these players, but there's no one better than Taylor. You said we would struggle to do
There
it.
isn't.
Yeah,
I'm not saying there isn't.
Because I'm not a scout. I don't work in them departments.
Can Celtic scout the whole fucking world in 6 months? Like,
Of course they can. They've got scouts in
Remember
every
Rodgers
part of the
is
globe.
just in the
every
door.
player in the world.
Not every player.
You're
But what
saying
I'm saying
in
is,
world football, you can't tell me there's not one player. So you've got to scout the whole fucking world for that.
not the whole world.
Ross hit the nail on the head. He said, I want to see players come in that'll take us to the next level, right? Personally, I couldn't give a fuck if it costs 50 million or 10 million for that to happen. That's my point. I don't care about the money. I just want quality coming in. And there's no point in just throwing out money, just grabbing somebody because everybody's got their arse in the air about why we're not spending money on players. Oh, well, fuck us and everybody's having a go. So we'll just buy him. No, it needs to be right. And that's obviously the case. I firmly believe if it wasn't right, if it was right, Celtic would take the plunge and do that. But it's not as easy as that. Saudi coming in and buying players for stupid money. The English Premier League's always been like, it's not as easy just to go out and find that quality. That's my point. It doesn't matter about the price. If we bought Kyogo for 20 million, I'd be just as happy as I was signing for 4 million. Couldn't care less. It's about the quality. And if it's not there, or Celtic can't attract that, then like, what are you meant to do?
And see all the new guys. See all the new players that's come in. There's so much negativity around their signing. So much negativity about they're not the level of player we need. They're not good enough and all the rest of it. These guys coming in and reading that will be like, for fuck's sake, not even fucking. I'm not saying they definitely do read it, but they might. I'd be like, aye, listen, but it was one game. It was one bad game. He done all right in the game before that. These guys need a chance to prove to us that they're good enough. It's unfair for me to sit here right now. I can sit here and go, I'm underwhelmed because they didn't spend 6 to 8 million like I thought they were going to. I thought the players they were going to sign were going to go straight into the 11. He'll replace this guy, he'll replace that guy. But it hasn't happened. But in time, we might be sitting here in 6 months' time going, Yang's a fucking absolute baller, eh? He's better than Jota.
Yeah,
we might be.
100%,
You don't know that
100%.
for sure, which is why I'm not willing to sit here and say it's been a shite window, it's not been good enough, like some are saying. I'll sit here and say, a bit more level-headed, if you like, and say it's been okay. I'm hopeful, but I'm still not enthralled by the business we've done. But I'm okay with it, and I think we've sort of plateaued, if you like, at the minute. But it could go there or it could drop a bit. We don't know.
I wish I had a fucking beer right now. Jack Butland's 30. Nah,
Well,
but
he's fell asleep. He's crashed
No,
out.
I'm just going through the comments. I think it's.
By the way, can I say something, Willie?
Aye.
You're making some job good for them comments, by the way. Every single
Try
comment's
my
been
best,
brought up.
man. Try to get everything
Some
up,
work.
because everybody
Some
needs
work.
to have they're saying it, because it's definitely, like I said, it's been driving me crazy the last couple of weeks. I've got my, like, this is your place to vent, guys. You put your thoughts across.
We
Like
certainly did.
I used to do it on forums every other day. I've got this, but I've been dragged into it all again, and I'm just sitting shouting abuse at my phone, and the wife's like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "This guy's fucking saying this and that," and I'm having a go again. And it's listen. At the end of the day, everybody just wants what's best for the club.
Yep.
We want to approve, and we've all got different opinions. That's what it's about. But I don't think anybody's disagreeing in the fact that we need to get. We want more quality in. And saying that, with 2 players off a treble-winning squad, I don't think domestically we've got anything to worry about. But I totally agree. If we want to take that next step in Europe, I think we need to get better quality in.
Mm-hmm.
But see, sorry, Willie. See, for me, I don't know about yous. I'll put the question to you. But for me, success in Europe next season is third in the group. Now, I have to caveat that with the fact that we don't know who we're going to get. If we got a group like we did last year, for instance, you would look at that and go, third is very, it's very possible. We can get third in the group and drop into Europa League, and even win one knockout tie, because we haven't done that for so long. If we do that and then go out the next stage of Europa League, that's success in Europe for me next season. Not getting out the group, because it's so difficult. Celtic's so far off that now. They really are. And that's where the reality has to come in, the realism. Success, I don't know, what do you, both of you, I know you're hosting, Willie, but I'll take it to you first. What's success in Europe for you next season?
Who, me? Sorry.
Aye.
Sorry,
Say Willie,
I
aye.
was just trying to pick up the back of the comments here. People think I'm fucking mad, but I just honestly don't think we were a million miles away last season. I think we've got quality players. I honestly, for me, you can go out and spend 20 million, and I don't think you'll get a midfielder as good as Hatate. Or it's very rare you'll find somebody as good as him. Go out and spend 20 million on a striker. I don't think you'll find anybody, or you'll be lucky to find anybody with the quality of Kyogo. I think we've got a good squad. I do think we need additions. I really, really do. And it's difficult because we were going into a new season with Ange, and I was excited because I thought we weren't far away last season, and it's just going to be a totally different season again. So is it going to be a learning curve and back to square one, and we're all sitting moping at the end of a dreadful European campaign again, or is the difference going to be a positive one and we're successful? For me, I still think we should be looking to try and get through the group. Personally, I think there's teams with lesser quality that have done in the past. As Stephen said about Genk, was it last season? They did fairly well. Can't you tell me they had a better first 11 than we did? I just think we're more capable.
I get what he means.
No, I know.
So I would always just, and I'm sure Rodgers will be aiming high as well. I mean, we've taken care of everything domestically, which I think gets overlooked. Everybody, I know, and I totally agree. We should be doing better in Europe, and I'm the first one to say we need to be doing much better, 100%. But I think it gets overlooked how good we have been domestically. Like, to win all the trebles is an unbelievably outstanding achievement, like unrecognisable. And I think Rodgers, that was one of his big things in the press conference. He wants us to be a force in Europe again. So that's what I would be. I would want us to get through the group.
Listen, I get where you're coming from. Listen, I'm thinking in sort of realism terms, where I think success, if we dropped out the group and into Europa League, I would think that is success. If we finish second, I'd be swinging for lights. Do you know what I mean? But hey, Stephen, same
You've been
with
swinging a bit
you.
like that Hulk Hogan Johnny.
Aye. Aye, but say what is success for you in Europe or this season?
I think that I made no mistake last season. It was a failure in my opinion. Finishing fourth in the group. No. Finishing fourth of the group, and Willie actually was right. Weren't far off it. I'll give him that. But a lot of 84 shots on goal was scored for. That is an incredible stat. I always remember Antonio, who used to tune in. I hope he's all right. Like, he used to share that stat all the time with us, and it was mental. And even thinking back on that, creating 84 chances in the Champions League is quality. We must have played some good football in that as well. But yeah, I'm like Willie. I'm aiming to get out of the group. We need to re-establish ourselves in European football again, and we haven't been a force since probably the Seville run. Maybe Gordon Strachan brought us back a wee bit in terms of getting out of group stage football, and obviously the famous win under Lenny against Barcelona. They were the main sticking points in that. But at home, our form is abysmal. Away from home, our form is abysmal. There's a lot for me that needs to be improved on. And yeah, I believe Rodgers can do that. We know, we've seen it before. He got Leicester to a Europa Conference League semi-final. He took them to the Premier League, as he always says, the most competitive league in the world. He took them to two fifth place finishes. So he did.
For the same country.
I know it's bad. But there's your comedy fun night. But I believe to do that, though, we need to strengthen the team. Like Willie said, we need to strengthen this team and give it a bit more physicality. Like Roger said when he first came in, a wee bit of physicality, athleticism, I think we'll do just fine. If it's third place for us, I fully expect us to go on a big run in Europa League, not to just get there after Christmas and get pumped out by Zenit St. Petersburg. We need to be winning knockout ties again as a club. It's been far too long. And Willie, you're right, by the way. Our domestic achievements get overlooked by the media, even by certain sections of the support as well, because what is it, 5 trebles in 7 years? It's an incredible stat. 8 trebles, world record. We achieved that last season. Doesn't get talked about. I mean, according to the Scottish media, Michael Beale only managed his first Rangers game there the weekend.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? It's incredible. But yeah, success. I'm sure we'll talk about it obviously in podcast to come as well. We're doing the big special for the draw again. It'll be all of us. I'm sure that'll be fun. But I want us to be in at least a European competition after Christmas. First choice would be Champions League, Europa League after that.
Yeah, agreed. And I honestly do think, seeing a weird way, I would absolutely love it if we'd done nothing more in this window and then had a really successful European Champions League campaign.
I know.
Just so people could stop saying, we need to spend all this money to be successful. It would honestly make my fucking whole life.
I'd be like Chandler up in the coffee table.
But again, I mean, we've qualified with far less talented first 11s than we've got now. I think we're more than capable, but listen, that's for another podcast. But I think we'll end it there. We didn't actually really kind of get into where we think we should kind of strengthen. We had a wee we kind of had a wee rant there, but
we can do that Monday.
These comments. I'm pretty sure we'll do a deadline night again. We did that last year, but with Ange, he did all his stuff. We're probably better doing an Ange deadline day the month before the window opens, but I think we'll probably do it this year because it might be an interesting one for us. But thanks for joining us, everybody. Stephen, and you must have enjoyed that today.
Oh, I was like Furby. I love that. I love it. See as well, by the way, I'm not just saying this. See, as soon as we mentioned the transfer activity, the chat went pew. It just took off, and it's just great to see. Everyone's backing up each other. We all want Celtic to be successful. That's the main thing, and it's again like Furby. Loved it. Great laugh, even though we had a wee bit of a wee arguments and stuff. It's all about debate. It's great.
Absolutely, Ross.
Aye, just with Steve. I mean, that's a great debate. I don't see all the comments coming in because I've not got that set on my end, but I see the ones you bring up and you can get the sort of gist. But you see it in the forums, everybody's feeling the same way. It's the topic of conversation right now because the window's open. I can't wait for it to shut, and this is the hottest room in the world. But listen, it's a great debate. Stephen said there, it was like we were falling out. We never fall out. We'll come off this podcast and it'll be exactly the same because that's what we're all about.
This is our WhatsApp group chat every single day, by the way.
Aye. Like, it is so heated, but nobody falls out. And if it comes to the point where they're about to fall out, it just gets diffused and it's fine.
Or someone says that Celtic got Motherwell in the next round.
Aye. Listen, that's what it's all about. We all want the best for Celtic, and we're just talking with pure passion, off the cuff. I love it. And like Willie said, I'm the same. I don't feel the need to comment on forums and stuff, but I have found myself doing it in the last couple of days because I've got this. I haven't done it for the last couple of years, but it has been so heightened recently that I've found myself doing it the last couple of days, and I don't like myself.
Loads of comments, everybody's saying great show. Thanks very much, guys. We really appreciate it. Thanks for your input too. Like, we come up with topics, but then you guys always give us talking points throughout the show as well. And we always say our wee community is brilliant. Congratulations again to Pam and Monty on the new jobs. That's us for another week. We'll see you again Monday, whereas no doubt there'll be more arguments about transfer activity. But thanks again for joining us. Mind sharing that discount. Get on the Super 6 for tomorrow.
3 o'clock tomorrow.
Super 6.
3 o'clock tomorrow. Get the Super 6 on, guys. Thanks very much for joining us. See you next week. Hail, hail.